Welcome back to the Kaspa Silver YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to answer the question on whether or not you should be investing into KRC-20 tokens. And before I answer that question, let's just give a little bit of context for those of you who might be new to Kaspa. So recently, Kaspa has launched KRC-20 tokens, and the people who are behind the creation of this are known as Kasplex. And what Kasplex is a indexer that allows basically a server to be able to create these tokens on the Kaspa network, and this server allows you to read them as long as the wallet that has the KRC-20 tokens supports the protocol that Kasplex has built with their technology. And now the technology that Kasplex is using that is similar to inscriptions on Bitcoin is not smart contracts. And a lot of people get confused thinking that KRC-20 is smart contracts on Kaspa, but that is not the case. Kasplex is using a different type of technology to achieve similar things that smart contracts allow you. So this is how Kaspa can already have tokens and in the future possibly have NFTs and DEXs built on Kaspa without smart contracts, but they are still coming. Smart contracts will be coming in the future, and the plan is to build them natively for Kaspa and not kind of do something that already exists in the crypto space. It's going to be something that is unique and built for Kaspa itself. And ever since KRC-20 has launched, you can see that over hundreds of tokens have been launched. And as of recording, there's 498 tokens. And this has generated about 28.8 million Kaspa in fees and 20.1 million transfers. And because of this, it's been really good for the fee market of Kaspa because it's now increasing the block rewards, and this is good for miners. And these tokens are just bringing more adoption to Kaspa, as of course some of these tokens just bring more awareness since you're not able to remove greed, and people always are going to flock to things that sound like you can get rich quick. And so now is to answer the question whether or not I believe you should invest in KRC-20 tokens. Now, personally, I don't believe you should. And obviously, this is my opinion and not something that you should listen to, but I just want to do my best as a content creator here on YouTube to protect my subscribers. And I believe this is one of the best ways to protect you guys, just because it's pretty much not been my first rodeo here in this space, and I've messed with tokens in the past, and at the end of the day, they are mainly just a way to gamble with your money to hope to get rich quick, and there's nothing fundamentally valuable with these things, and so they're just basically a waste of time in my opinion, and I'd rather just focus on Kaspa. And another big reason that I would rather just avoid these altogether is because it attracts so many scams to networks that have tokens. And this is just going to be something that you really can't eliminate because Kaspa is of course decentralized. But ever since KRC-20 has launched, there's already been one dominant scam that has just happened recently. And it was a wallet that was claiming to create a marketplace for KRC-20 tokens and just basically support these tokens on the Kaspa network. And then they started claiming that you need to send Kaspa to them so that they can get some funding, so that they can secure some exchange listings and all this kind of stuff. And to me, it would just seemed very, very shady. And I called them out about it and literally told everyone to avoid it at all cost. And some people were saying that I was just fudding them or whatever, but like I said, it's not our first rodeo, and a lot of other people were saying the same thing. Even the main developer of KNG, Crypto Aspect for Kaspa, was being vocal about how shady things were looking. And then the next day, once people sent about over 1 million Kaspa, they completely just deleted their account on X. As you can see here, the account doesn't even exist. Another reason why I would suggest you just avoiding KRC-20 tokens is just the risk that are involved. When you are getting into KRC-20 tokens, it involves you having to move your Kaspa around so that you can fund other kind of wallets, and then you can hopefully mint these new kind of tokens. And if you're not aware of Kasware, if you did watch my previous video, you heard what happened with them, but Kasware had a bug that literally drained people's entire wallets as a transaction fee. And you could see this person basically just tried to send $1,000 worth of Kaspa, and instead, as a fee, he paid over $48,000 as a transaction fee, which was a bug on Kaspa's fault. And I'm not saying that they were trying to scam people here, because they weren't. They admitted that there was a bug on their wallets and that they're devastated about this, and they're trying their best to hopefully recovers people's funds. But ultimately, you really can't do much. Once a transaction is set on the network and confirmed, that is it. Your money is gone. There's nothing you can do. This is crypto, and this is how crypto works. And so this is why I would say that if you are going to mess with these tokens, please don't be sending your whole entire bag to these kind of third-party wallets, because they have not been perfectly tested, and obviously the main Kaspa devs have not actually been involved with these kind of developments. This is all third-party stuff, so you really got to be careful. So if you're gonna mess around with this stuff, don't be sending your entire balance to these kind of wallets. You just never know what can happen. And this is why, if you just completely stay away from these tokens, you can actually protect yourself, because if you were not interested in these tokens, you simply just kept your Kaspa in cold storage, didn't touch it, and you didn't lose any Kaspa pretty much. And so another thing I want to mention, though, is, do I believe that KRC-20 tokens are bad for Kaspa and that they should just be removed? Well, no, I'm not on that side of the spectrum either. And if we look at Bitcoin, you could see that BRC-20 tokens exist for Bitcoin, and it's pretty similar to how they work on Bitcoin. They also work on Kaspa, but with Kasplex, they kind of solved some of the issues that Bitcoin has when it comes to the tokens that are built on it. But there's a big voice of the community in Bitcoin that think that these tokens are an attack to the network. And they only say that because Bitcoin's really not able to handle this kind of activity on their network. When more people start to use Bitcoin, it makes the fees rise, and then it makes people have to wait even longer for their Bitcoin transactions to be confirmed on the network. Where in Kaspa's case, Kaspa's able to handle this kind of load. That's the whole point of Kaspa. It's supposed to be scalable. And you could see that in the last 24 hours, Kaspa has produced over 2.2 million transactions, and then it's also generated a good bit of fees. You could see that on the launch day of Kaspa, it generated over 21 million Kaspa in fees. Now, of course, there was that bug on Kaspa that caused these fees to be way higher than they were supposed to be. But nonetheless, you could see after a few days of KRC-20 existing, Kaspa is steadily staying at about over 1 million Kaspa per day being generated in fees, which is really good for the fee market, really good for miners, and really addresses the security funding concern for Kaspa. And not only that, even though it's doing all of this activity, the fees on Kaspa are relatively cheap. They're very, very cheap. You could see here that right now, normal transactions takes 2,036 Sampi. If you don't know what Sampi is the smallest unit of Kaspa. So basically anything under 1 Kaspa is then called Sampis. But 2,036 Sampi is basically the default fee for Kaspa. So 0.0001 Kaspa per UTXO is currently the fee market for Kaspa. That's how much it costs for you to send Kaspa around and get it within seconds, which is literally not even one single penny. It is extremely cheap still, and still is processing over millions of transactions per day. And Bitcoin can only process about 600 to 700,000 transactions per day. So personally, I don't believe that KRC-20 tokens should just be removed from the network completely, because then that would go against Kaspa's permissionless standpoint, where anyone should be allowed to do anything on the network because it is permissionless and decentralized. No one should have to ask permission to conduct things on the network. And in Kaspa's case, it is being created to actually handle these kinds of loads and adoption on the network. So I don't believe that they should be completely removed. And I don't believe you can just remove greed from these markets. As much as you try to warn people and try to tell people to stay away, these things are not valuable things that you should be putting your life savings in. People are still going to want to do it. People are still going to try to get rich quick. It's just one of the facts that we have to face, because greed is very, very hard to resist. And I get it. And there's a lot of you degens that are trying to convince me to get on to the tokens and all that kind of stuff. But I've messed with that stuff and I've learned from experience, and I'm just simply going to focus on Kaspa. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And before we go, if you're interested in supporting my work here that I do on this channel, I do have a Patreon that's $15 a month. And if you do join the Patreon, you'll get access to my private Discord, and you'll also get early access to all my YouTube videos before they go out live to the public. You'll also be a part of helping Kaspa grow. Every single month, I donate some of the funds that you guys have donated to me to a fund that I control that eventually will be used to support anything that's related to Kaspa in terms of development. I also have Google Sheets on there so that you can see more statistics of your investments. I also provide tech support, because if you have any questions or anything on there, you can literally just say something in that Discord chat and I will usually be able to respond to you as quick as possible. You have convos with me and other like-minded people like myself, and you also be able to track my crypto portfolio, see exactly how much Kaspa I hold and also how much Bitcoin I hold. Those are the only two cryptocurrencies I personally hold. And you also be able to see my stock portfolio, because I do put my money in some stocks, but I mainly just hold ETFs in there. But if you are interested in seeing all of that kind of stuff, you can look into supporting me via Patreon. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new around here. And as always, don't be average, be different.